Ole Miss sweeps the Evansville Purple Aces 8-3 on Sunday. They won a doubleheader on Friday. The preseason is now over. The hard work now begins. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member. We're proud to be a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network in America. That's because of fans like you taking in content like this, and thank you very much for that. On today's show, the Rebels, with an 8-3 win over the Evansville Purple Aces, sweeps the series. And now the hardest week of the season is at hand, going to Pete Taylor Park for a visit against the top 10 Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles, and then a road trip to Austin, Texas to face the Texas Longhorns. This is going to be a big week, but Ole Miss had to take full advantage of this weekend and come out 15-2. There was no other way that they could do it and it not be a disaster. They were able to come back and win the game, win every game this weekend and get the sweep. They are now 15-2 overall. We'll probably get at least a look at the top 25 next week, and they get ready for the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles and the Texas Longhorns, and an opportunity to raise their RPI. All of that and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube, so special hello to the everydayers who make this show what it is, and that is your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. We put the same drive into every detail. Define the moment, putting in the work that defines you. Stay tuned for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. So Ole Miss needed to win this game, and there was a whole large portion of this game that was very ho-hum. It was. Ole Miss jumped out 1-0 after Judd Udemark just scalded the ball down the line and ended up stealing third base, and Ole Miss manufactured the run. We talked all week about Ole Miss needing to manufacture the run and play situational baseball. They were able to bring Udemark home. Evansville actually scored 2 in the bottom of the second. There was a little iffiness on control, couple of hits batter by Will Libbert and a couple of walks as well. And Evansville scored 2 runs in that second inning, but the door kind of got shut after that. You have home runs by Brayden Randle, by Tristan Bissetta, and they manufactured a couple runs via sac fly, and all of that. Ole Miss ended up winning the game. They didn't hit the ball like they did on Friday, to where they were just knocking the cover off the baseball. That did not happen, but you have Ole Miss playing situational baseball. There was aggressiveness on the base paths. I liked what I saw. This didn't look like static 3-outcome hitting like we saw down in Houston, Texas, and in midweek. No, this was aggressive baseball played by the Ole Miss Rebels, and they were able to use that to their advantage, especially against an overmatched opponent. I think Evansville's 3-10 or 3-11 or something like that over the course of the season. Ole Miss had to win all 3. They did win all 3. They got run rule wins on Friday. It was a good weekend overall. They didn't blow out their pitching, anything like that. They're going into this game against Southern Mississippi about as healthy as they could be, in my opinion, as far as their bullpen goes. And then you have Texas and Austin, which that game's going to be weird. Credit to Mike Bianco about one thing. Going down and playing Southern Mississippi on the AstroTurf that is Pete Taylor Park, which I have no idea how a major college program in Mississippi cannot grow grass in the infield. But I digress. It's a weird playing surface. Texas is a weird playing surface. When you look at what's going on, they used to have a completely AstroTurf infield and a natural grass outfield. Texas is a weird place to play college baseball. But the way it sits now, they have it set up a little bit differently so the infielders can have practice before they go into the Texas series. This Texas series is going to be a war. They're ranked inside the top 5. Jim Schlossnagle is the manager. He likes to play slow. He wins just about everywhere he is. He is going to use this to his advantage as much as he can. Southern Miss just defeated Mississippi State at home. Now they have a chance to pull off the double against their most hated baseball rival, or most hated rival, I should say. Southern Mississippi seems to enjoy beating Ole Miss more than just about anybody else. But Ole Miss going down there on the turf is going to be it's going to be a good matchup. Southern Mississippi's ranked inside the top 10. If they win today against North Alabama, they're probably going to move up. LSU is going to drop potentially after losing games in the midweek to Northeastern and a game over the weekend against Sacramento State. They're probably going to drop. But the way it sits right now, the opportunity is there this week for Ole Miss baseball. You want to announce your authority? Here's your point. You win 3 out of 4 over the course of this week, everybody will take Ole Miss baseball seriously. Everybody, 100%. Win 3 games out of 4 this week, and nobody across the country will doubt Ole Miss again the rest of the season. Is that likely? No, you're playing really good teams, top 10 teams, all 4 games, all on the road. But the opportunity is there, is my point. If you're able to win those games. I like Hunter Elliott and Cade Townsend and Will Libbert going up against just about anybody. It's just the way it is. And the midweek's going to be interesting. If Ole Miss can throw the ball against Southern Mississippi and get that win at Pete Taylor Park, heck, at that point, you need 1 win in Austin and you are gravy. I mean, it's a great week. The one thing that you can't afford this week is a donut. You can't do the 0-4 thing. You have to figure out how to get at least 1, preferably 2, and if you get 3, it's gravy with what is going on. Evansville, they were a good team a couple of years ago. I think they either played well at Tennessee or beat Tennessee in a regional. But the way it sits right now, the preseason's over. There's no more preseason is available for you. So we will talk about that. We will take your comments. So if you have one, put it in the chat. Put where you're commenting from. If you have that, we will talk about that. And if there's any other questions, we'll take those as well because I just genuinely like interacting with people inside the chat that goes on. But I do realize it's Sunday, it's baseball, and it is kind of is what it is. So when we come back, we will talk about that right after this. Hey, welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, and Cotton Candy. There is something for everyone. Listen, when it comes to my number 1 draft pick, I'm going to go against my Locked On Gamecocks host, Chris Marler, who likes to make fun of me because I like grape. I like grape because no matter which convenience store or drugstore you walk into, that's going to be there. Whatever you want, you're going to be able to consistently get that. And I think that is the most important thing for a number 1 draft pick. The sleeper overall, though, I think is pomegranate. I love the tangy flavor and stuff like that. They offer a little bit something different. If you have a sweet tooth, listen, Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, and Cotton Candy is right there for you. And of course, berry, that's the OG. That's the original flavor. It's going to be around as well. So 5-Hour Energy shots give you a boost with 0 sugar. 5-Hour Energy has a lot of upcoming flavor innovations planned. I really wish that one of those innovations would be cherry limeade. I'm just saying, if you can do that, you will probably have a fan. So find your new flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you still have to fill, that's sitting open. So when the pressure's on and you need to make the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach out to the people who actually fit what you're looking for, skills, location, experience, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. Here's a stat that kind of shows it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. That's less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners to the show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And this is Mazda's moving the game forward for those of you who show there's more to the score than what's on the screen. Listen, Dom Decker gets the call for me. He's a player that never hit a collegiate home run until about 2 weeks ago. Now he has 5, including an opposite field blast this weekend against Evansville. He has become the perfect modern leadoff hitter. He got on base a couple of times today through a hit and getting on base on balls. I think it's 61 games in a row. And I don't care if you do analytics or not, getting on base, that is the job of the leadoff hitter. These remind us what it takes to raise the bar is the extra work off the field, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, that I never quit. We put that same passion into every model, highlights that make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to Mazda and there's more to you. And don't forget, if you're interested in a Mazda, get to a Mazda dealership right now and see what's up. Hey, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs nothing but keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast in America. If you've been thinking about joining the Everydayer Club, now is the time. Again, you get ad-free shows on ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And you get access to my private Locked On Ole Miss Discord as well. And if you've signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get our Everydayer Club bracket pool. You can get in that. Lots of great stuff. I think merch deal is available for you on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Should be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use code MARCH. Simple. Code MARCH. And get your first month free. Head to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com or tap the link down in the show notes for more. All right, so this is what it is. If you have any comments, if you want to comment, if you want to say anything, but put it in the comment section. If nothing happens, we'll just talk about what's going on and what's on my mind. I think this baseball series against Southern Mississippi and Texas is really big. I've been talking all preseason that it's not preseason, but you know what I mean. That it was important for Ole Miss to win the games because of how brutal the schedule is. There's no South Carolina, no Missouri on the schedule. Everybody is ranked inside of the top 25. You are going to have to win games, including non-conference games against Southern Mississippi, multiple of them. So you need it to have a good non-conference pre-SEC slate. 15-2, really great. They should be 16-1. They gave that game against Baylor last week away, but it is what it is. If Ole Miss can get multiple of the games this weekend, they will be all right. I'm excited to see what this team looks like. Whenever they play good, listen, when they play good and they play well like they did on Friday, it's such a fun baseball team to watch. They can drive the ball out of the yard. They can pitch it a ton. They can do the gap to gap. They can run. They can do all of the stuff that's kind of old style baseball. And I'm excited about that, to see that more. And in the SEC, that's going to be important. You can't do the 3 outcome stuff and win games in the SEC. I don't think that can happen. Not those pitchers are too good to where they're not going to walk 7, 8, 9 of them like you're getting at times over the course of the non-conference season. You're going to need to get on base. You're going to need to move runners. You need to get them in scoring position, and then you're going to have to play good situational baseball, knowing when to sacrifice, know when to sack fly. All of that stuff will be important so you can get that run or that run or two. Because with this pitching staff, a run or two, you should be in a pretty good spot because of how good they are. You're going to get a cup ball or two ran out of the yard every single game, just about, it seems like. But if you count on that and you're able to get 3, 4, 5 runs, you're going to win more games than you lose. And all of a sudden you're going to look up and have 38, 39 wins at the end of the regular season. And if that happens, you're hosting a regional and everything you want is coming true. It's going to be very important for Ole Miss to not walk people on the mound, not commit errors in the field. They need to be a team that is difficult to beat, not a team that beats themselves. If that happens with as good as that staff is and how this team can just run the ball out of the yard, it could get pretty impressive. It could get really impressive really quick. Tristan Bissetta had a home run today. He's hitting over 400, I think, for the year. Colin Reuter's over 400. The bats, whenever they're working and you get runners on base in front, the bats are there to drive in runs and do damage. And you saw on Friday night what that can look like. And them manufacturing runs, I'm all about that. Anyway, thank you so much for turning in today to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk, spring football this week. We're going to talk college baseball. Tuesday night, we'll do a reaction to the Southern Mississippi game. We're going to talk about spring football. I think March 23rd is the day that we're looking at on that. And we've got commitments coming up. Tomorrow's show, we talk about Benjarvius Shoemaker committing to Ole Miss. And we got some highlights and all of that. So pretty interesting for what could be a very important year inside the state. And Ole Miss has all of the momentum going forward. So we're on all the social channels, so check that out as well. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ole Miss ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you find a second listen, either Locked On SEC or Locked On College Football. Hotty toddy, everybody. We are getting almost to spring football, and baseball is about getting ready to heat up. So it should be pretty awesome. So we'll talk to you later. Hotty toddy, everybody.